It's Central Valley Business. I'm your host, Steve Walling. My guest for this segment is John, is it Gerardi? Is that how you pronounce it?
There you go.
And you're with Central Valley Right to Life?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks for having me, Doc.
You're welcome. I want to ask you first, before we really get into this, how long has this organization been around here?
Right to Life of Central California has been around for actually a very long time, since before Roe v. Wade, actually, back in the days when California first legalized abortion, back in the late 60s, when it was kind of a mom-and-pop organization in, the upstairs of somebody's, accounting office. And we've grown since then, and today we're a leading educational organization trying to do work to educate churches and schools, particularly in the Catholic schools and other Christian schools, to educate young people about the dignity of human life, about basic things like fetal development, what happens as life is developing. So we chiefly do education. We try to keep the public informed about developments in pro-life legislation in Sacramento and nationally. And we also try to offer sort of direct service to aid women who are struggling, facing a difficult pregnancy, and women who are suffering after an abortion.
Now, John, how long have you been with the organization?
I've been kind of a volunteer with the organization since I was 14, but I just got started as the executive director about 6 or 7 months ago, back in September.
So you got some ground under your feet, but
I do.
You're moving into a much different area. You face a lot of challenges, don't you?
Yeah, we really do. In California, there's a very disproportionately high abortion rate, which is in part due to, in California, unlike most states, our Medicaid program, Medi-Cal, actually pays for abortion. So there's much wider access to abortion in the region, and thus there are more women who've had abortions. And thus there's a greater need for ministries like ours that offer healing to women who have had abortions and who have regretted it. There's much greater need to provide education to young people so that they can actually understand what is actually taking place inside a woman's womb, before they are faced with that decision.
John, how much resistance do you run into in your day-to-day operation?
In day-to-day operations, not too much. We've had a few. One of our ministries we do is we have a regular presence of prayer and support outside of the 2 abortion clinics in town. So the Family Planning Associates in downtown Fresno, and then the Planned Parenthood on Fulton Street. And we are there just to pray peacefully, and to offer women options and resources, that there are other places they can go to receive care. There are loving people in this community who will help them face a difficult pregnancy.
What kind of resources are currently available to a young woman?
There are all kinds of resources. First of all, I realize that not every person who's going into a Planned Parenthood clinic, for example, is going in to get an abortion.
Right.
And one of the things we try to offer them is access to other federally qualified health centers. And these are other low-cost clinics throughout the valley that don't offer abortions. And there are about 17 of them in Fresno County, so we try to provide information about those clinics. We also try to let women who are maybe abortion-minded or considering abortion access to our large network of care organizations, whether it be Poverello House, whether it be Pregnancy Care Center in Fresno. There are a lot of, whether it be Infant of Prague Adoption Agency, there are a lot of loving and caring people in the community who can help these young women to make the choice for life.
Right.
And that's what we try to do. That's what we try to encourage, not only in our sort of on a weekly basis. One of the big ways we do this is what's called 40 Days for Life, where in the fall we go for 40 straight days from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. just praying in front of the Planned Parenthood clinic. And so often, we have several babies who were born because women, because we were there, because women saw us praying there, and they told us, I think a lot of times, 2 is not double of 1. I think 2 is exponentially greater than 1. And to be lonely and scared and facing a very difficult decision and think this is your only way walking into that abortion clinic, but to see that there's one other, loving, caring person that makes a world of difference for some of these young women. So
a lot of those young ladies are alone.
They are.
They've been, maybe their families have turned their backs upon them, or let's say the responsible male party is nowhere to be found.
It's MIA, usually.
And so they are aware that there are places where they can go to and terminate that life. But, how do you get your word out, other than being a presence in front of some building like that? How do you get your message out to? I mean, it's easy to get it out in the church family, because the churches will involve themselves.
Right.
But there's a lot of people in the community that don't attend church. They don't have a spiritual life, so to speak. How do you reach those people?
So this is one of the challenges we're struggling with, and so there are a number of avenues we're taking to kind of combat this. One of it is by reaching out to do presentations on the campuses of some of our colleges and universities at Fresno State, Fresno City.
Let me stop you right there and ask, how receptive are they to that?
It depends. A lot of people actually are pretty open and receptive.
Okay.
When you look at the figures of, who is pro-life, who is pro-choice, unlike something like gay marriage, where young people are sort of much more predominantly in favor of it, abortion is less so. In fact, the trend for millennials is actually a more pro-life trend as we go along. So you actually see more and more young people actually kind of open to our message in high schools, on college campuses, and that's what we're trying to do is, one of the things we're trying to do, like, rather than, pay for a billboard or something.
Right.
With social media, there are lots of easy ways to do it. With Facebook, you can make advertisements. You pay $10, and you can reach 1,000 new people you've never reached, and we can target it towards females between the ages of 14 and 24. And so we're sending out PSAs. And not like lame PSAs, but just PSAs saying, "Hey, are you facing a difficult pregnancy? Here are all the resources available to you. There are people in this community who love you." So,
in order to do outreach, I mean, obviously social media, there's a lot of free access there, but like you just mentioned, there's some pay, products that you can purchase. How do you support your organization? Where does that funding come from? So
we're very blessed to have a number of key families and donors who have supported us since those early days in the late 60s. And one of the things we do, we have our annual Christmas dinner and auction, which is at the Fresno Convention Center, and we get about 900 people to come out, and lots of different churches sponsor it.
When do you hold that?
That's the first Friday of every December, and this year will be Friday, December 1st, and it's possibly the largest silent and live auction, like charity auction, one of the largest west of the Mississippi. So
really?
it's a really big event. I mean, you got 900 people. You got 900 people in the convention center,
right?
And that helps to support our educational and outreach works for the whole rest of the year.
Does the church community support you in any way?
It does, both sort of officially and unofficially. We have a very good relationship with the Roman Catholic Diocese of Fresno. We have good relationships with a number of evangelical churches all throughout the area. The organization was never explicitly Christian or religious.
Right.
Actually, we have always sort of believed that the defense of innocent unborn life is really just a simple question of there's a life. It's a simple question of human rights.
Right.
And so we've always tried to make our materials sort of open so that people of any faith can make use of them and learn from them.
So a young lady, how does she get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of us in a number of different ways. They can call our office, first of all, 229-2229, which is 229-BABY. It's like we planned it that way.
There you go.
We got our website, righttolifeca.org, our Facebook page. If you just look for Facebook, just look for Right to Life on there. We have a Twitter account, twitter.com/righttolifeca. So those are a lot of the ways we reach out to people. And even, one of the big things we do is this ministry called Rachel's Vineyard, which is for women who have had abortions who are looking to have healing from that experience. So we have different religious ministers and psychologists who help with these sort of retreats.
Right.
And everything is completely confidential and very professionally run. We have a retreat center out in Three Rivers, California, and we do English language and Spanish language. And every year we have a lot of women who make use of it. And it's one of the things we're proudest of, because I think no matter whether you're pro-life, pro-choice, I think it's good to acknowledge that if people are hurting and suffering as a result of this choice, then we should offer them help.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How about people that want to sponsor you?
So
what's the best way for someone that's watching this or happens to come across you, to the best avenue that they have to sponsor you?
So we're always happy to have people sponsor our Christmas dinner and auction, which again is the first Friday of every December. But if you're interested in giving us support, again, just give our office a call and talk with me. 229-2229. I'd be happy to talk with you about the new educational initiatives we're starting. We're getting a whole curriculum of presentations that we want to introduce into Catholic schools, Christian schools, youth groups, and we're looking to get some funding to hire maybe another educational staff. So if anyone's watching and is interested, just give us a call, 229-2229. I'd be happy to talk with you and take you out to lunch and discuss it.
Well, there you go. John, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate it.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks.
All right?
I appreciate it.
Good deal. All right, we'll see you when we come back.